Hey guys, welcome back. It is the coach here, and we are getting into an episode. I'm going to break down the top 10 worst teams in college football. This is my opinion. Strictly, you're probably going to disagree with me at some point. Let me know in the comments down below what you disagree with me on. We can have a nice little conversation there in that safe space we call the YouTube comment section. So without further ado, let's get going. Let's get started here with number 10, and we're gonna go to the state of Florida for number 10. That's gonna be the FIU Panthers. I do not know any way to sugarcoat their numbers. They faced a lot of challenges this year. They were 4-8, and it looks like they had a couple big time wins with Mike McIntyre as the coach. The Panthers managed to secure 4 wins, but had a lot of bad losses, and were in, honestly, in my opinion, the weakest conference USA. Maybe the MAC can give them a shout, but Conference USA was not very good this year. Offensively, the Panthers scored 241 points, averaging 20.1 points per game. This placed them 117th out of 133 teams. Did not have a very good strength of schedule, ranking at the bottom in the entire country, with wins against Maine, not even an FBS program, Yukon, who's on this list you'll see later, beat North Texas, which was a surprising one, and beat Sam, who's also on this list. So when you have 2 out of your 4 wins being against other teams on this list and a FCS team, yeah, I'm sorry, you're not a good program. But hey, they have really cool uniforms, so they're kind of fun to watch, especially on those Tuesday night Conference USA games. But that's all I got for them. Alright, coming in at number 9, we're going to have Louisiana Tech, another member of Conference USA. You're going to see a few of them on this list just because the conference is terrible. Louisiana Tech, though, what they really hurt them is they could not stop anyone. They were giving up 33.4 points per game. Again, another team that did not play any really big-time opponents. They beat Florida International, which I guess you're probably like, what? They beat Florida International? You have them at 9 and Florida International 10. Yeah, but it was the first week 1. I kind of throw that one out the window, what they were. They had some big ones early in the season. They also beat Northwestern State 51-21, which is another FCS program. They beat UTEP in their conference. But after that, things went south. They lost all 6 of their last 6 games, just getting blown out in a lot of them. Their wheels fell off. They lost to Sam Houston, who was not a very good team for most part of the year. Middle Tennessee wasn't that good. So really, really tough into the season, though. The team that started the season for Louisiana Tech was not the team that ended the season. I know they had some injuries and turmoil and stuff like that, but man, they were just not a good team. So they come in at number 9. Number 8, we have Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt comes in at number 8. Yes, you're like an SEC team in the top 10 worst teams. Yeah, sorry. Vanderbilt, all you're good for in the SEC is you keep the grades up, and that's why they don't want to get rid of you. And baseball. You're good at baseball. I'll give you that one. But they were 2-10. Absolutely atrocious. Getting up 36.2 points per game. Yes, they played in the SEC, so you got to give them some credit for that. But man, if you look at their schedule, they played Hawaii and Alabama A&M, started off 2-0, and everyone was super excited, and that was cool for them. But then just rattled off 10 straight losses in a row. The UNLV team is a good team. They lost to them, so you got to give them props on that game. But after that, just bloodbath after bloodbath in the SEC. They had some games where they fought Georgia pretty well, and that's impressive. You know, the number 1 team in the country at the time, but just a lot of losses for Vanderbilt. Not much else to say, so they come in at number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have East Carolina, and man, it is hard to win games when your quarterback is getting sacked. 28 sacks for their starter, Alex Flynn, and when your quarterback has 1 touchdown for every 2 interceptions he throws, it's not going to be a fun year for you, and that is why they only won 2 games. Now, the reason a 2-win team gets the 7 spot over, some teams that are later on this list that are going to have 3 wins, East Carolina plays a tough schedule. They played Michigan, the number 2 team in the country, and the 1 seed in the playoff. And I know they lost 30-3, but they played them tough. They lost to a good Marshall team. They lost to a good App State team. I know one of their wins was Gardner-Webb. They blew them out in FCS, and that really looks bad. But they played some really good teams, and they lost some really tough games. And I think you got to credit them for sticking in and playing tough in those games. So I got a lot of credit. Yes, are they a bad team? Yeah, definitely guaranteed. That's why they're on this list. Every team on this list is bad. But you got to give the benefit of the doubt when it comes to these other programs that just really don't play the same caliber teams. They went out and played some good teams, they're just not a very good football team. Number 6, we have Sam Houston State, the school I went to and attended. We have K.C. Keeler, who's been there for a while and even led them to a national championship at the FCS level. Well, their first year with the big boys did not go as planned. A lot of tough games. The problem for them is they could not throw the ball. They could not move the ball consistently on offense. 20 points per game, one of the worst offenses in the entire country. Defense, for what they had to deal with in the offense being so terrible, especially at the beginning of the season, I thought the defense played really well. You look at the BYU game, they lost 14-0, and it was 7-0 all the way to the fourth quarter. Air Force 13-3. You know, they played both those teams really, really well. They just couldn't move the ball at all offensively. And I think they have some hope on the horizon. They have a kid who just won the state championship with DeSoto at the high school ranks. He's currently committed to Sam Houston, and if he goes there, that could change their offense drastically, because right now they need a QB. They have some weapons, they have some dudes, defense is there. You know, they lost 21-16 to Liberty. Like, they can hang with teams. They just got to figure out the offense, and they got to figure out who's going to be throwing the ball. I do think Sam Houston will figure it out, and I do see a brighter future on the horizon. I mean, they won the 3 of their last 4 games, and they could have easily won a lot more. They played a lot of close games, a lot of tough games, so I think they're going to figure it out, and I think they'll be one of the staples in Conference USA. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick break here and just thank y'all. We finally got to 200 subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of you for subscribing and giving us support and helping us on our quest to grow, you know, a good community for the Pick Six. And we just love making content. Me, the coach, Mike, we're enjoying this ride, and I just wanted to say we appreciate y'all. So thank y'all, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe for more content. Help us grow the channel, and you know, help us keep doing what we'd like to do. Have fun. Number 5, we have Yukon Huskies. If this was basketball, yeah, they'd definitely be in the top 5. But sadly, this is football, so they're in the top 5 when it comes to the worst teams. Jim Moore is a good coach, but man, they had a rough year. Again, another team that could not move the ball. Only 19.1 points per game offensively. Really struggled, and it kind of shows up. They did play some really good teams. You know, they lost only by 10 to North Carolina State. They lost to, you know, got blown out by Duke, but Duke was really good at the beginning of the year, especially when they had their quarterback healthy. And, you know, they played Tennessee on the road. Like, they played some really good games. They beat a Rice team that went to a bowl game this year. They beat UMass. Sacred Heart's an FCS team, but they're usually a good FCS team. So they have some good wins. They had 3 of them. I think UConn, though, the way the program's going and the funding and them being independent, I believe they're, you know, kind of in a no man's land, the wasteland. The program's only just going to go down, and it sucks to see, because I think they could have been great, but right now they're kind of just a lost soul, and I don't see it getting better on the horizon. Number 4, we have Nevada, and man, they were atrocious. I feel like I said these teams before, like Sam Houston and UConn were bad offensively. Nevada takes the cake. Ken Wilson, don't know if he's the answer. They didn't play all that great of a strength of schedule, and they were atrocious offensively. And I mean, hey, you know, one game they got lucky, won 6-0 against San Diego State, but they were just not very good. They lost to an FCS Idaho team 33-6. They did play well against Kansas, which was impressive and cool, but other than that, just a lot of bad games, not a very good team, and it's got me questioning what can Nevada do. I remember when Colin Kaepernick was there, they had a really fun program, and they had some exciting years, but those years seem to be long gone in the, you know, rearview mirror, and I don't know if I like what I'm seeing. Coming in at number 3 is going to be UL Monroe. So Louisiana Monroe, 2-10. Our coach Terry just did not get the job done, and a lot of just awful games. They beat Army and Lamar to start off the season 2-0. Looked really good. Got absolutely blitzed by Texas A&M. Lost a really close game to App State, and I thought, you know, that really could have changed it. And they were a good team, so I feel like putting them at the 3rd spot's really harsh at times. They played a really decent, I'll give it to a really tough strength of schedule, 71st in the nation, but just a lot of losses, a lot of bad losses at the end. The team that played at the beginning of the season was not the same team at the end of the season, and, you know, it shows, but you gotta give them credit, and I think, you know, maybe they can figure it out. All right, we're almost done with this list, and we have our final 2, and don't worry, Mac Nation, I saved it, these final 2 spots for you. Number 2, we have Akron. They were 2-10, and just atrocious. Akron had the 2nd worst points per game. Just could not put the ball in the end zone. They beat Morgan State and they beat Kinston State. Don't worry, you're about to hear about Kinston State later on. A lot of interesting games though. They had that 4 OT loss to Indiana. They had the OT loss to Buffalo. So OT loss to Eastern Michigan. So a lot of OT losses, a lot of close games. They played teams tough. I don't think they're the worst team ever, but in a bad conference, couldn't get the job done. I think the 2 spot is fair. And finally, number 1, we have Kinston State coming with a record of 1-11. They are just absolutely atrocious. Worst offense when it comes to points per game. They gave up 415 points this year, which is just insane. Nothing really went their way. Their one win was Central Connecticut, who's I never even heard of. They got blown out in more games than I could count, and just not a very good team. But luckily for them, the MAC is a conference where you can jump up pretty quickly and be back in the fray. So it's not, end of the world. I think they're in a better place than a lot of these other teams on this list just because they're in the MAC. Like if you're in the MAC Conference USA, it's not hard to jump into the mix and be a team to be reckoned with in a year or two, right? It's just the way those conferences are aligned, and all of them are pretty much the same resource-wise, and all of them have pretty much the same, opportunity to be successful. So don't worry, Kinston State. Don't worry, Akron. Your opportunities will come in the future. I promise you. So let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are these the worst 10 teams in college football this season? Did I get something wrong? Did I leave your team out? Per se. Thanks for listening. Y'all have a wonderful time. Until next time. Peace.